Reforge.
Do not touch us.
But you saying I can't really makes me want to, you know?
Reforge.
No.
Worth it.
Hold up, wait a minute, let me explain, okay? Please. You haven't even given me a chance. No, I am not turning into a pony. Well, I am, but not the type of pony you're thinking about that you see on Twitter. I am literally a pony. And that's because, sadly, people gave away $200 to me on stream to force my artist to draw me as a fursona. It's gonna last for a month, so I want you to all just, you know, hold tight, understand I have not become a PlayStation fanboy. I've been transformed into something worse. The idea that Chris Chan could possibly get off on this image, oh God.
You know who my mom!
Please, stop giving me your money. Stop subscribing to me. Stop torturing me. All I want to do is make good content, and all you guys want to do is meme on me.
Shut up, dog!
All I know how to do is kill my channel, but not as effectively as RockSteady killed the Justice League and the Suicide Squad, and any hope for the future of DC products.
This game is just a Marvel's Avengers clone. Should have been single player, not live service. Quit having fun!
See that, Suicide Squad critics? You can't win. I drew you as the angry person. Seriously, this meme is always passed around. It's the contrarians' go-to meme whenever something they like doesn't take off. Trust me, I would know, I've used it. Now, I know you're all sitting there with that dumbfounded look on your face, wondering how it's possible anybody could defend Suicide Squad and pretend to like it, but the small number of people do exist. Not just because 700 idiots liked it, but because this is the exact same attitude Reforge Gaming is giving the game. And if you don't know who Reforge Gaming is, well, he's a former Destiny player. So live service is right up his alley. Well, that doesn't make sense for it. During the whole ABK deal with Microsoft, wasn't this guy pointing out how evil live service games are and how they ruin everything and he doesn't want more of those? Correct. That's the same guy. Well, then why is he defending a live service game? I don't know.
I don't have a whole lot of, I don't really resonate with people that are like, this is what they should have done. You make a game then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like so much of the hate that's been lobbied at this game is all couched in presumptions about live service that are unfounded, and they should have made a different game. And I don't think those positions are legitimate. It's like tiring to constantly have to be like, well, they should have made this game, or they should have done that. Don't frickin' play it then. It's so tiring. Like, play something else. Like, I don't, the other games, it's like, I don't sit here and constantly talk about Sea of Thieves should do this or should do that. I've said, I'd play Sea of Thieves if there was a PvE mode, and that's it. And then I just don't play it and don't talk about it.
Where in the hell was this energy when it came to Xbox Live Service games? Everything about Suicide Squad was what you were concerned about when it came to Microsoft's live service games. Everything! The only difference is it's 10 times more woke. They can't help but remind you about the LGBT flag every corner you turn. But never mind that, you're not the type of person that will bring those things up, even though you go to church. Now, I don't know how you don't think the position of this game, that single player shouldn't be monetized like it's a live service game, isn't a legitimate point. Because people who play live service games know exactly how repetitive those objectives are, how tiresome the grinding aspect can be, and how bare bones the overall package is at launch, because that is the pattern of a lot of live service games. A position that you held just a few months ago. Oh, of course, but because it was Xbox. That was the only time you could ever see it that way. The presumptions people had on the live service aspect of this game were accurate. Even before you got a chance to play it, you were already playing defense. Why? I don't understand. The game didn't even look appealing in the previews. But you know what? Whatever. This was before the game came out, so he had an alibi. But now the game is out, and its score on Metacritic is pathetic. Its peak concurrent player count didn't even reach the peak concurrent player count of Arkham Knight from 2015. And now the man wants to say the critics and the consumers are wrong. Yes, because there's nothing like a former Destiny player telling us that we're wrong about the quality of a live service game, as the last 6 days of his life has been spent defending this game. All right, if you haven't put something next to you to catch your vomit just yet, get ready for that moment. Because can you guess who was out here supporting and capping for Sweet Baby? I'll give you a hint. It was the guy who looks like he says, "Brain Blast!" A lot of fans are hopping mad about Batman's role in Suicide Squad, Guild of Justice League, and rightly so. Here's why Kevin Conroy's Batman is wasted in the game.
Kevin was our teammate and many of us worked with him directly for years. I would expect games journalists to know that and understand how callous it is to use his memory to stoke hatred. We do not need strangers to tell us what he would have thought. He told us himself.
Yet another Sweet Baby employee caught in the wild. Can you believe it? They're starting to emerge. They're starting to show their face on the net. And before you ask, yes, obviously there's pronouns in the bio. Oh God, each and every single time. If I was a Reforge Gaming subscriber, I would have unsubbed right there. Disgusting. Showing support to this gross-ass woke entity has taken away any semblance of credibility you had. Is it any coincidence ever since we found out about Sweet Baby the latest superhero games are absolutely plastered with woke slop? No, obviously there's a direct correlation here. And anybody who supports that company supports the push. You know what? I don't really want to throw people under the bus, but they know who they are. And it absolutely irritates me how they tiptoe around this subject. They don't want to use the words woke, progressive, LGBT, none of that. They want to reference Sweet Baby, they want to brush on the subject, but they don't want to commit to saying it how it is. Nothing annoys me more than seeing people try to downplay the influence of this entity, yet they're clever enough to know not to cap for them. Reforge, on the other hand, has no problem being as open as he is about it.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people aren't seeing the forest for the trees because they're getting hung up on the first couple of hours where it is very much not what people expected, and it is somewhat simplistic in those first few hours.
Sure, but and the game is actually training you and doing stuff with the different modifiers and different ways to kill the guys. So if like it's a shield modifier, you got to make the shield, so you have to shoot the legs to hit them. If you want to get ammo, or you have to get there's a lot of things going on. And gaming reviewers now are more like I call them like, you know when you go to a food review or wine review or coffee review, right? They're like snobs. And this is not a snob type to be down on those people, but their taste that they've acquired over the years, that they now drink coffee, but they will only drink this coffee. You become like a snob to that coffee because that's the best coffee you've ever had, or that's the best wine you've ever had, or that's the best food you've ever had. So when that thing doesn't hit that bar, everything's crap. Right? And so that's what's happening with video game reviewers and stuff now, where they have their niche, just like you said, where they finite what they like in a video game, and when it doesn't hit that mark, it's outside the mark, so it's crap, or it's garbage, or it's not a good game. And that's just it. And then you can't solve that problem. It's just the person outgrows, their taste grows, and some people, like, I don't like sports games anymore. I used to love sports games, but the sports games got repetitive to me after a certain period of time. I saw the man behind the curtain. I went, you know what? I can't play these sports games anymore because it's the same thing over and over. So I stopped playing them. But that's what it is. A lot of reviewers are outside. They're more of a snobby take on stuff because it didn't hit their mark. So that's why they give it a bad review.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Wow. Get the out of your mouth. Oh my God. Imagine thinking critics today are snobs. Yeah, no, the complete opposite. They are way too forgiving. I would love it if more critics were actually snobby, because then the smaller details in the reviews could be pointed out. But instead we have the fastest reviews put out first, which do not go over everything. The major gaming critics today on Metacritic are lazy, too forgiving, and on top of that, they love woke pandering, so you'd figure this is the perfect game for them to review, but instead, they're finding it absolutely mundane, bare bones, uninspiring, uncreative, and generic. This game checks off on all the boxes on what a gaming journalist would absolutely love. and yet they don't love it. Think about that for a second. That's like when Angry Joe found Spider-Man 2 too woke for him. It's like we're finally reaching the threshold on what a gaming journalist can actually take. And believe me, they're not outgrowing live service games. These journalists love it because it gives them more to talk about. Just like you guys, because you're in the business of producing content and less in the business about actually playing video games. Let's face it, that's the reality. This game had over 10 years to cook. And this is what they give you. A game that doesn't even have an offline mode at launch, and it's single player somehow. $70, 8 hours long, and incomplete. This is literally that quote-unquote Game Pass fodder that you were warning people about. Were you cut a check from RockSteady? Do you have friends at RockSteady? Because I have no idea why you would ever reach this point where these critics that you held in high regard against Xbox games are now suddenly wrong, snobby, and just don't get the aspect of games like this that they've been playing for over a decade. Bullshit.
They just made the mistake of making 3 great Batman games, and that passively set consumer expectation that they would stick to that. Now, I did see an observation that I do feel is fair and worth discussing. People said that, listen, a lot of the positive reviews on Steam are even admitting that the game is overpriced. Now, I actually researched this, and this is actually true. Even folks enjoying the game and recommending it on Steam are saying, listen, wait for a sale, it feels overpriced. What this feedback fails to realize, or what it's ignoring, is that roughly 20 months of planned playable content is coming for free to anybody who bought the game. I feel this keeps getting lost in the shuffle when the price discussion comes up. Yes, it's a full-price live service game, and yes, they're selling cosmetics, but a ton of playable content is on the way and will be totally free for everybody who purchased the game.
For free? Yeah, no. If I bought the game, it ain't free. Stop. It's all content that should already be in the game. Because again, RockSteady had 10 years to cook. He's acting like they're doing you a favor. Like, wow, they're gonna build even more of a game on top of the big game they gave you already. When in reality, there's simply not enough here to even justify $30. Again, I cannot stress how indefensible this would be to Reforge if it was a Game Pass title. Hell, you know what? I don't think you would defend it if it was a PlayStation title either, which is making your damage controlling all that more sus. Why? You're acting like they're just giving that content away for free. No, they're giving you your $70 worth later, which is an absolute failure on the aspect of being single player, which is already defeated by being always online. And as a co-op multiplayer game, it falls flat as well. This business model isn't defensible because we don't even know if this game is going to be active 20 months from now. So for all you know, your 20 months worth of quote-unquote free content could be canned at any minute. And we all know you will not be playing that free content in 20 months either. You're gonna move on to other multiplayer games because this is the type of content that's designed for people like you.
I think when you play this game in its lane, it's actually really fun. I also continue to find the story to be at the caliber of a RockSteady story. And if you pay close attention to the story, instead of rage-watching clips on Twitter, the story gives you a mountain of clues about what really is going on. Okay, it's very creative. It's very comic book-esque, which sadly is overshadowed by the whole, well, this is disrespectful to the Justice League, and I can't believe they did that. You didn't play the game, and if you did, you didn't pay attention to the narrative, right?
Yeah, that's right, people who went out and bought the game and beat it and suffered through all of that. If you didn't like the story, if you didn't think it was good, you weren't paying attention. Get the fuck out of here. The only way you could enjoy this story is by completely ignoring it. Or if you know absolutely nothing about DC Comics. Because clearly this was not written for DC fans. There are so many contradictions, inconsistencies that would make any comic book fan's head spin. And on top of that, it's set in the Arkhamverse, a much anticipated setting for fans. And they butchered the whole thing. It most certainly did not match the quality of previous RockSteady games. They can't even commit to you actually killing the real Justice League. Hell, they couldn't commit to you being the one to kill Wonder Woman. Hell, they couldn't even commit to you killing the real Brainiac, who for some reason now wants to turn the Suicide Squad into his replacement for the Justice League, which was full of godlike beings. Yes, he's gonna conquer the universe with Harley Quinn and her bat. So stupid. Yeah, I lost Green Lantern. Yeah, I lost Flash. Yeah, I lost Superman. But you know what I got? I have Captain Boomerang. Oh my god. You know, you'd figure if it was this easy to take out the Justice League the whole time, what was stopping Kite Man from strapping himself with gold kryptonite and just shooting at Superman with a gun? I'm not joking when I say this story is like something that was written by a 12-year-old fan. Well, I mean, if you want my honest opinion, it's not a popular one, but it has something to do with the opposite sex being given an opportunity to write for this game, because they clearly do not get the material. I mean, it's blatantly obvious to people writing behind it. Try taking as much inspiration as possible from James Gunn. They didn't know how to write out King Shark as anything other than their own version of Drax. The humor is hit or miss for lots of folks, but for me, I think it's a complete disaster. The only times I chuckled was when the writers were not self-aware enough to realize they wrote some cringe. But then again, you yourself are cringe, Reforge, so this product is perfect for you. You are unable to see what is wrong with the writing, and that is astonishing to me, really. I can see why our games are getting worse and worse. A lot of people are simply unable to identify cringe. Take the classic slow pose walk, for instance. Tell me these guys are not heavily influenced by James Gunn. Tell me. It's a cheap attempt at imitating what works elsewhere. Everything from the story to the gameplay to the live service format.
So I just really want to stress something about the reviews that are out there. Virtually none of them that I've seen, especially the ones giving it scores like a 4 or a 5, they're not judging this as a live service game. They're judging it as a game they wish wasn't a live service game. So instead of critiquing the loot system or the gameplay loop or the skill trees or the potential builds, the end game, the elasticity or the longevity of the game's format, we just get told, well, the content's repetitive. You just shoot purple guys on rooftops. There's so much diversity within the actual fights and mechanics and enemies and actual activities that whenever somebody says something like that, I feel like maybe they played the first 3 hours, put it on easy mode, and just flew through the story so they would know what happened. And yeah, when you do that, it's going to feel repetitive. You're not actually engaging with the variety in the game.
It's not even supposed to mean a video game is a video game. And this one specifically is trying to be a single player game and live service game and co-op game all at once. I have seen them review just about every aspect of this game on multiple sites, multiple videos, and customer reviews on Steam. And the majority of them are actually talking about what the game is trying to be. Solely talking about the live service gameplay aspects is not enough and would change nothing, because even the live service aspects of the game, the looting, the shooting, the traversal, the missions, clearly isn't anything to write home about. It fails to impress. They simply slapped a DC skin onto an already existing template that's used by countless developers, and that is the only thing about it that sticks out. Clearly, other live service games do the format better. Player counts show this, sales show this, and reception shows it. If they didn't mention what they wanted out of the game, nothing would have changed. They would have still found a very shallow and unrewarding live service game.
Because again, it's a live service game, it's a looter, it's got builds, it's got skill trees. If you're not leaning into those systems, it's not surprising that you think the game is just sort of repetitive.
Or get this, Reforge, maybe it has to do with things like grinding for the rarest materials to be able to face the final boss in the game. That makes it feel repetitive for people. Or maybe it's the recycling of a boss fight that makes it feel repetitive for people, or how all 4 characters are restricted to guns, or how this is not the right type of repetitiveness people desire, because repetitive gameplay can be addicting. There are gameplay loops that can have you sitting there for up to 12 hours a night, and clearly this is not one of those games, because if you sat there for 12 hours, you would have finished it.
No disrespect, but your commentary on Suicide Squad can apply to Starfield? In what way? What do you mean, Dark City? I have said for a very long time, I value the user score over the critics heavily.
I value the user score over the critics heavily.
I have been saying that for 9 months or more. I've been saying that since before Starfield came out, after it came out. I've always said, the user score matters more. I don't care that you convinced 80 people to give you, decent or padded scores. I don't care about that. When I got tens of thousands of people reviewing a game, that's where I go. That's who I rely on. I think gamers have the final say, always.
Oh, do we now? So you mean to tell me that 3.9 on Metacritic is what you're going by? Because in that case, the reviewers are being far more favorable. You have no defenses left to run to. The user score is lower. And good on people in your chat for noticing the hypocrisy.
Prior to the release, Lona was saying Kill the Justice League was going to be good. Got to continue the narrative. No. See, what you're doing is you're insinuating that I'm being dishonest. I'm the first person to throw up a thumbnail. It's like, I was wrong. If I was wrong about this game, I would have been the first person to say it. Why? It's good content, and I would probably get better viewership on those streams, on those videos. I could do a whole series of why Kill the Justice League stinks. Like, I could do a whole series and probably get more viewership and make more money. There's a lot of motivation in not telling you what I really think right now, is that it's fun, I like it, I think the critics are getting this one wrong, I think this is a slow burn.
Well, that's because your pride won't allow it, Reforge, that's why. I don't have enough room on my hard drive to show all the bullshit you spewed before the game even launched, but you were fully committed, and there's no turning back for you. You're not going to allow yourself to do that, because you have a big ego. You're being dishonest to yourself and to your viewers, and they're not buying into it.
Lone Wolf says, I called out IGN. You aren't the arbiter of truth. You aren't right. The consumer's opinions on this game differ greatly from yours by a wide margin. I'd argue that means you're wrong. Across all platforms, the users have spoken. Get off your high horse. I'm accidentally retweeting that. Oops. Anyway, hang on. Why am I getting DMs here? Yeah, I can't with Twitter right now. Oh golly, get out. It's crazy. It's mayhem out there, boys. It's mayhem on Twitter.
Yes! 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 You had nothing to say to that now, did you? Your feelings were hurt so hard by that one. It was art. But basically what was on everyone's mind watching this stream. You know what, actually? That's a good way to end it, because there are so many more clips. I'm not lying. This dude is defending Suicide Squad harder than anyone else on the internet. I wish I could fit all of it in one video, but I can't. So if you want a part 2 and you want it fast, click like, leave a comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want the rest of Reforge's awful takes on this game, then do it. And I will see you in part 2.
Free Congo sucks ass.